Perfect, guys. So welcome again to our Monday training call every Monday, 1 p.m. We are excited today to have a special guest, my friend, my business partner. I've been working with this gentleman now for about 5 years plus. I think 5 years and 2 months, if I'm keeping score. And I appreciate you, Mike, for being on today. For those of you that don't know, Mike Killimett is one of the top agency owners here at Family First Life. Multiple integrity partners within his agency, over 4,600 agents, if I remember that correctly. But just a down-to-earth guy that's helped a lot of agents have success in this business, has been in the industry now for about, I think, 12 years. And knows what it takes to be successful, has had and is having success continually coaching agents to get to the highest level of this business. So, Mike, happy Labor Day.
Oh, man. Thanks, Jermaine. Those are some, I was thinking the same thing when I saw Gio's numbers. I was like, because he has twins is why I remember those days when you also that quick picture. You can't really tell, but two of those kids on that picture are twins also. So I know what he's going through, and it's and it gets better, Gio. You and I have talked about that. They can start doing some stuff on their own here shortly. So you'll be able to breathe a little bit, but it.
Did I freeze?
Here
we go.
I'm looking at the top leaderboard, and those are the same guys that are also recruiting and building faster. It's funny how people, new agents that we hire and recruit, they just want to know that we're here to help them. And I would be fine because you have to build that trust, and they have to want to they have to believe in the system because they're new to us. There might be some new people on this call. You're new to us, and just understand that we do want you to win. And by winning, what I mean is you making money and supporting your family and doing this full time, selling life insurance, because we believe at Family First Life that you selling life insurance, you shouldn't have to work, 2 other jobs. You should be able to make enough money doing what we do, and support your family and have a good life of eventually working to the point to where you have time and money, because this can create that. I've done a lot of different things. I've had restaurants, I've done real estate, I've done a lot of different things, and this is really the only one that I've found that I can create time and money. Because in the restaurant business, I had to be there, to make the money that I was making. I did well, but I worked 100 hours a week in real estate. If I wasn't showing the house or selling the shopping center or helping a tenant get in the shopping center, I wasn't making any money. There was no way to duplicate myself there. And here in this industry, there is, Jermaine, I love watching what you guys do, and all the way through down on the leaders that you have. And it's really cool because that's duplication. It's a thing in this business. You should want to build it to a point to where if you go away, the business continues to run, and everybody on your team continues to make money. And the more people you help, the more money you make. So I love this business. I love this time of year. Jermaine and I talked about this a little bit. I think we're all coming off summer. So now, if you have kids or you're done with summer break and everybody's back in school, and a lot of the schedules are starting to level out and be the same. And I think in this business, the biggest thing is our schedule. We're here on Monday you guys are doing calls earlier. Actually, when I logged on this, Gio was booking an appointment. So maybe that's how he wrote 44 apps this last month, because he was booking appointments right up to the 1 o'clock call. And but it's like Groundhog Day, man. For 12 years, I've done Mondays. I sold insurance for 7.5 years. So, and when I got out of the field, it was because I was costing myself too much money on the fact of I couldn't train and help my guys. I would be in the house and I'd have 11, 12 missed calls, and those guys needed me to answer the phone, and I couldn't because I was with a client. But anyways, I've been making calls on Monday and Thursdays for 12 years basically, and still doing it today. It's just these are different calls I do now. It's more mentoring and more recruiting calls on Mondays. But I think to win in what we do is the main thing is you got to have that schedule, and nothing can get in the way of that schedule. And I understand you're self-employed and this is your business and you can do whatever. And you do work hard for your family to, I just share this with you. I missed a lot of stuff early on. But now I get to live the way I get to live now because I missed a lot of stuff early on. And I didn't miss it for, 20, 30 years. I missed it for like 5 years, and I think if anything I can stress to you now as you get going with us is man, just put it like you had a job probably before you came to us. So why not work this thing like your job? Like everybody went to work on, you went to work on Mondays. I mean, you did. If you didn't go to work, whether you were, managing a retail store or managing another office or managing or work or teaching or whatever you're doing, you went to work on Mondays. And it is no different here. You have a job, and that job is selling life insurance. You just happen to be the boss. So you get to, choose how much and how little you make. That's the good and the bad, right? You get to choose how little or how much you make. And that depends on your work, your activity, because this whole business is built around activity. And if you have the right activity, you're gonna get the right result. And if you have the wrong activity, you're gonna get the wrong result. And it's no one else's fault but your fault. There's so much social media stuff out there, and this and that and this and that. This, these leads are this.
Hold on, Mike. Go ahead.
What, have I been muted the whole time?
No, you're good. Somebody was making noise. I tried to mute them, but their name was right next to yours, and I muted you instead.
I saw it pop up. I couldn't hear the noise. That was interesting. I didn't hear it.
Yeah, but don't worry, you're good.
But anyways, I don't remember where I was. But being having a good schedule is just stay with that. Do the same things over and over again. I mean, I love this time of year. College football started. It's starting to get a little cooler, kind of. I'm not here yet in Atlanta, but it will hopefully in a couple weeks. And like I said earlier, the kids are back in school, so everybody's schedules is getting more back to normal. And I think that's real important going through the next couple months to finish out the year. Is also, I'm not the only one that loves this time of year. A lot of people do. People in a better mood. It's just I've always found when I was selling that this time of year, it just seems that people are more approachable. They're more open to buying life insurance. It's one of our busiest times of the year. It's one of the busiest quarters. Even though it's crazy, Jermaine, it's one of the busiest quarters. Even though December, you have Thanksgiving in January and November, then you have Christmas in December, and then you have your first of the year. So that like whole week of December is gone. So we really lose November and December are only 3-week months, right? When it comes to working. And but still you have, September, October, November, December, these last 4 months are very productive for our agency. They've been that way ever since I've had the agency, and ever since I've been selling life insurance. And I just think it's because of what I just said. It's one of my favorite times of the year. I think it's a lot of people's favorite time of the year. And also I think another thing that helps is they're around family. You have Thanksgiving, you're with family most of the time. Christmas, you're thinking about family, and people buy life insurance to protect their families. So it's a conversation. It's easy. It's easy to sell it because of they are thinking about their families more this time of year, and they love their families and they want to protect them, and it's an important thing. But I will share this, Jermaine. I remembered what we talked about earlier is I would, if I was still selling right now today, I would go as hard as I could September, October, 1st of November, first couple weeks of November. And here's the reason. And I'm guilty of this early on, is there's not a worse feeling than to be sitting around with your family and knowing you should be out helping other families to make money to help your family. I mean, I've had those feelings sitting, in my living room with my kids thinking, man, I need to be out. I should be out making money. I didn't make money when the September, October timeframe when I should have. I didn't know. I didn't have anybody telling me this, by the way, Jermaine. I kind of learned this through, and that's the worst feeling, is you sitting at home, not having the correct activity, that or you don't have the correct income. That's just an awful feeling. Yeah. Because you guys, you were doing this for our families and making money for our families, and you want to be able to enjoy that time with your family. You want to be able to enjoy it, and to do that, I think if you go really hard at it in this next couple months, you will have that income to be able to enjoy the holidays with your family. And I'll say this, make sure you just prepare when it comes. We're a little bit away from November, but when it comes up, these lead companies, they shut down, insurance companies shut down, because they all have jobs, so your income's based on you. So you need to prepare to make sure you do have enough leads to call and have enough policy properly. And so that's the biggest mistake I made early on, first couple of years through the holidays, Jermaine, is not understanding how profitable and how good this last quarter can be. I just didn't know. And as I went through it, I learned, like, man, these selling a lot of insurance through this time, through October, and September and everything. And so I've learned that. And I want to share that with you guys to make sure you properly aligned and properly ready for the holidays, so you can enjoy the holidays with your family. That's why we do what we do. That's why most of you on this call are doing what you do, is you're doing it for your family, and I want you to enjoy it, because that's what I want you. I want you to make money, have a good time, and enjoy your fruits of your labor. But we have to do the labor first. There's no fruit if there's no work. So that's the bad part. So anything else you want me to hit on, Jermaine? Is that all that makes sense?
Yeah, it makes complete sense, and hopefully everybody understands that. Some of my best production periods has always been during the holiday season, and one of the things too, it's a competitive edge. Like, you're a sports guy, Mike, so the competitive edge is a lot of agents get lazy during the holidays. So if you're somebody that stays on the grind, you stand out. You're the one that's calling when everybody else is just doing whatever, and they're not reaching out. So there's more leads that you have access to because everybody else is being lazy, and those people are wanting the insurance, so they're ready for your help. Would you say that's correct?
Yeah, 100%. When you're one of the handful that are out there still doing it throughout this time of the year, 100%. And why not get ahead of 2023? Because through December and January, it rolls into the next year, and you want that momentum going for the first quarter of 2023. And it's just, it's 100%, Jermaine, you're spot on that. It's like, why not? I like to win, number one. And when you're winning, you're making more money for your family. It's a good feeling, man. You'll enjoy your Christmas. You'll enjoy your Thanksgiving. It's just a different feeling. And I can remember it, Jermaine. I remember the first couple years in this business, I didn't enjoy it because I wasn't doing what I should be doing. I wasn't recruiting like I should be. I wasn't selling enough insurance. I was like, oh, I'm my own boss, so I'll just take 2 weeks off. Why didn't I get paid? And I remember that feeling, and that's why I don't do it anymore. And that's why, we're on doing this call today, and why I want to get you guys prepared for what's coming. So you don't make the same mistakes I made. That's what I love about this business also, is if you do reach out to the right people, we will help you not make the mistakes we've made, because I know that feeling, and I don't want you to have that feeling. You shouldn't. It's like I remember if it was a book I was reading. If you're walking through a minefield, why wouldn't the guy walking in front of you? Why wouldn't you just step in his footprints? Because if he steps on a mine, you're like, don't want to step on that one.
Yeah.
Step next. You know what I mean? It's like, that's what I love about this business, because it is predictable, and it hasn't changed in 12 years. It hasn't changed. It's still a numbers game. It's still, those that put in the work get the reward. It's still the same thing. Now, has the technology changed on it? Yeah, the technology has changed for the better, but as the activity goes, it hasn't changed. And I've made a ton of mistakes, and I just share those with you guys because I don't want you. There's no point you making the same one. I mean, once you keep doing the same thing and look for a different result is the definition of insanity.
Yep.
No one wants to be insane. There's enough crazy people out there. We don't need you guys going crazy. So let's don't do it.
Amen to that. And Mike, with you being in sports, I see the helmet behind you. What team is that, by the way? On the other side, yeah.
Oh, you can see that. So yeah. Hold on. Oh, so this is the Oakland Raiders.
Okay.
So I'm an Auburn.
As a Raiders fan, but okay.
Do what?
I say you didn't strike me as a Raiders fan, but okay.
No. So I'm really not. So, but I am a Bo Jackson fan. So I played baseball at Auburn, and Bo was there before me, and at Auburn, and he would come out of the field, and so I've got to meet Bo, and Bo's awesome. Some of you younger guys don't know, but Bo's probably the best between him and Deion, the best two. I love Deion Sanders too, but Bo's one of the best two sport athletes. So this helmet I got signed by Bo Jackson and Tim Brown. I think Tim went to Notre Dame, but two Hall of Fame guys. I was actually at a golf tournament with our chairman of the board, Steve Young. He's the chairman of the board at Integrity. I was at his golf tournament in California, and I got this helmet, and Tim Brown was there, so I got him to sign it too. So I got Tim Brown and Bo Jackson's signature on there, and that's what the helmet is. So I'm not really a Raiders fan. I'm a Bo Jackson fan, but I don't know where you could get a helmet with have his signature and Tim Brown. I like Tim Brown too. I think he was phenomenal. He is a phenomenal person. I got to talk with him. Also, I don't know him as well as I know Bo, but good people. So that's what that helmet is.
And how would you say, because I always say, being in this business is if you look at it like you're a professional athlete, you will have success. What are some of those things that you would say are similar from your experience being an athlete yourself and just knowing, athletics and sports that are similar in the insurance business that can help new and current agents have success?
Yeah. Great question. So I played baseball, and baseball is a pretty cool sport. It can be similar to basketball where you can work on a lot of your stuff by yourself. Like you can shoot. I like basketball too. I wasn't tall enough really to play. I did play in high school, but you can shoot basketball when no one's watching just by yourself, right? Baseball, I can remember hitting balls off a tee, Jermaine, till my hands almost bled. So I had the calluses, if the blisters, before they turned into calluses, they would bleed. And but that was something I could do to work on my swing. I could move the tee to the outside part of the plate and hit the ball. I was left-handed, so hit the ball to left field. I'd put the tee in the middle side of the plate for you, and I would pull it, hit the ball to right field. I could work. I could do a lot of work without anybody watching. Like that's like you see these games on Saturday and Sundays, and that's when the lights come on that they perform. Man, these guys put in so much work before that Sunday, before that game Saturday, before that game Sunday, that you guys don't see. And if you never played, you don't understand it. The 5:30 workouts, the 6 o'clock workouts, going and running, going to work out, lift weights. I used to hate that, but we had to do it. But no one sees that. No one talks about it. So in the same way in this business, Jermaine, you and I have been on the phone at 11 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, when the lights aren't on, people aren't thinking about it. I mean, you and I have already talked this morning, about different things. And it's just, that's the correlation for I think the athletics and this, that's one of them, is putting in the work when no one's watching. You think, well, it's just when people are on stage, or when you're booking appointments, or you're sitting in a home, or you're doing it over the phone, however you guys do it now. I know we do it both ways. That's you have to be prepared. I don't think people get lucky. It's because that's when the preparation meets that time, then that creates the luck. If you're not prepared, if I wasn't ready to hit that inside fastball, I wasn't going to hit it. I wasn't going to hit it when the lights were on. If I didn't work on that, have the tee on the inside of the plate, work on that, my hands wouldn't know where to go. And it's just muscle memory. Now, so it's the same way in this business. If you're brand new to us and you're just getting, call yourself. I used to call myself. I would drive, before I got my license, I would drive from my house to my real estate office. And people probably thought I was crazy because I thought I was talking to myself. I'd call, I'd ring. Hey, this is Mike with the Morris Protection Center. How you doing? Doing good. I would do my phone script all for the 30-40 minute drive to the office every day before I even had my license, when I was studying. I did that. And so when I was able to when I got my license and got on the phone, some guys said, hey, can I get a script? I didn't just talk to them. Like, it says on the lead what you need to ask them. It has their name. If it's a mortgage lead, it has their mortgage. If it's a final expense lead, it has the hey, they're looking for, I call it burial insurance. In the South, they understand that better than final expense. These old people are like, what are you talking about? Your burial insurance. Oh yeah. Just talk to them. They're just people. If it's an internet lead, hey, you looks like you're on the internet on our site looking for some life insurance. I'm the guy that's got your file. What were you looking for? Or I don't even know what the internet leads say, but that's how we get them. They get on the look. So I would just talk to them. And then I was old school. I went and saw them, and we didn't do it over the Zoom, but I would just talk to them, but you have to do the work. You have to put the work in before you're going to get the production. So that's the same way with, and then also when it comes to knowing your products. I'll be up at 11 o'clock at night reading product guides, studying what I could write for, someone that had diabetes, someone that has diabetes and has high blood pressure. Know what you can write them. Be a professional. If you're a professional, you get paid like one. And I guarantee you, ask my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law played a couple years in the major leagues, and he's made more money doing insurance than he did playing baseball. So you guys have the opportunity, and I've made more money in this business than I would have ever made playing baseball. So you guys have the opportunity to make that kind of money, and but you will not do it if it's not done. If you don't treat it like you're a professional, you'll get paid. You'll get paid like a part-time person if you treat it part-time. It's just, this was a lifestyle for me. It's 24/7 for me. It doesn't have to be for you. I don't know what you need or what you want. That's a more individual conversation. I've had, me and Jermaine have numerous those, but I know what he wants, and I'm starting to get to know some of your other guys too, Jermaine. I know what it's like, and I know you do too, but that's it, guys. If we can help you get to what you want. If you want to make 75 grand a year, we can teach you how to do that. Because I did that first couple of years. I was terrible. But you can do that in a couple of days a week if you want to. It's not, it's okay. That's okay. I'm not here to judge anybody. I just want you to get what you want out of this. And I want this to be your last stop. I want you to work with us for as long as you want to work for us until you retire. And but that's the key thing, is put in the work when no one's looking. Be at the office, be in your home office, be reading, sharpen your mind, do things to get better every day. And this thing is a lot easier than some, like it might feel right now. And I understand, because I was new too. I remember getting on these calls, and I had guys talking like, man, I don't ever get to, I want to think about it. And I'm like, he's full of shit. Because every time I went in the house, they're like, I think I need to think about it. I'm like, man, what am I doing? But what happened was I learned what to ask. So they didn't tell me that.
Yeah.
There's things you can ask, ask Gio what he's doing. 44 families helped. Ask Gio, what are you saying, dude? Because they ain't telling Gio they want to think about it. They're telling you they want to think about it. And one more quick story. I remember final expense when I was running final expense appointments. Man, every house I went into, they said they thought I was with the government, thought it was free. And I'm like, it don't say that anywhere on this lead. Like, why do you think you are? Why do you think I'm with the government? Why it's free? But they didn't think that, Jermaine. It was just the way it's like a dog knows people that are scared of them. They knew I was uncomfortable, didn't know what I was doing because I wasn't prepared. I didn't prepare myself. So you know what I did? I went to a meeting and I said, hey, who's the best final expense guy in here? They're like, that dude over there. So I went over there. I said, hey, what are you doing? These old people are killing me. He's like, dude, you got to sell a funeral. He goes, they want to buy funeral insurance. That's what they're buying. They want to pay for the funeral. And I go, how do you sell funeral? I said, you ask them questions they can't tell you. So some of y'all have that worksheet. Hey, you either sent this form in because you don't have any insurance to bury you, or you don't have enough because it's gone up, which that's a lot of the case, or you have plenty to bury you and you only leave something to your grandkids. Which one are you, Jermaine? See, those three questions, they can't go, thought you were the government, or I thought it was free. I quit getting those comments on the final expense because they would be like, if it was the first one, they'd be, Steve just died at church. They didn't have any insurance to bury him. I don't want my family to be burdened. I need how much, I'm like, all right, let's go through it. Or they'd be like, I got $6,000 worth. Now it's gone up. Now it's 10,000 or it costs 12,000 to bury. That happens. So we would just add on. Or they love their grandkids. Grandkids are called grand for a reason. They want to leave. They don't care about the kids. I love my mom and dad, but we get home, they'll worry about what my girls are doing. They ain't worry about what me and Steph are doing. They're like, where's Caden? Where's Caden, Callie, and Kinsley? I'm like, they're getting out of the car. They're grandkids though. But so do that. But I learned, guys, because I seeked out the information. So Jermaine, that's what it is. If you're going to get better playing baseball, you're going to have to hit the cage. You're going to have to do things when people aren't watching. It's the same thing here. You got to be intentional about what you're doing. So that's the way it correlates for me.
Yeah, there's so many gems in there. Seeking out information really resonate with me because that's how I learned. I sent you that quote yesterday that I saw, and it was like, Oprah didn't get rich by having all the answers. She got rich by asking a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And that's so true for anybody that's on this call. I've been asking and pestering Mike for 5 years and 2 months with questions, and that's what's allowed me to, according to my kids, get rich. But it's the same opportunity. Just like you said, anybody on here can reach out to Gio or Chris or Princess or whomever else that's having success, Cameron, and ask questions and be able to learn. And communication is so key in this business. Because if you don't communicate, we don't know what you might need help with. Everybody's at a different level, and you got to know what you might be missing. Or if you don't know, ask, hey, what do you think I'm missing? And I've always had those questions with you, Mike. It's like, hey, what can we do better? Or what can I do better? And see what ways I can improve. And that's such a huge benefit. That's free. I did a recruiting call this weekend, and the person was complaining the company they're a licensed agent in another company, and they're charging them for training and support. And I'm like, that's crazy. We offer so much training and support here for free. And that's one of the things I love about, what we have here, the opportunity here. So pretty cool. Anybody have questions for Mike? We'll open it up. You could drop them in the chat and I'll read them off. That way we could just keep track of everything. If you have a question, which you should, drop them in the chat. And I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to touch on, Mike, while we're waiting for a couple questions to come in.
Just be intentional on what you guys are doing and be intentional to what you want out of this thing. So, call to, I can see these questions, I think, Jermaine.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, go ahead if you can see them.
But call tools, but you're gonna have to answer some of these. Call tools, that's that new call system, right? Or is that
that's app? The new dialer, I believe, that you told me about.
Yeah, we're starting to use that. If you might have some, I don't have any info. I know what it does. I can explain real fast what I understand of it. But once again, I didn't use a dialer. I dialed myself. But I love the new technology. I think it's awesome because I think we can buy cheaper leads and just throw them in there and And I'll just share this. What I do understand on call tools is why I think it's going to be a good thing for us is they've talked to us and they have developed it the way we call, Jermaine. So like they'll call one lead 3 times in a row, then they'll wait for about 30 minutes. So it's not so because what happens with these dialers is it'll go and then it'll start hitting spam because it's just dialing the same lead over and over and over again. So eventually their cell phone, whatever, it'll come up spam. What Call Tools has done is integrated the technology to where it doesn't do that. So it'll dial the same pattern that you would as a human. It'll dial us one lead 3 or 4 times, and then it'll go through the rest of your leads. And then maybe in an hour or so, it'll dial that lead again 3 or 4 times. Gotcha. And also different cell, it has different numbers it dials from. Okay, even though it's still going to come to your cell phone or whatever your headset, whatever you got going on, it's still going to come, but it might dial from a local area code. It might dial from your regular area code. So that's another way they've done the technology to where it doesn't come up spam. So that's the most knowledge I know about it. I think it's going to be a good thing. All right. Now, I say I can read them, but I can't read the whole question.
All right, I'll read this one for you. What's the best tip? Keeping someone on the phone within the first few moments of them answering. What would you say to that?
Talk to them just like you're talking to your friends. So, and what I mean by that, like if Jermaine sent me the lead, I would, when he answered, I would say, "Hey, Jermaine, it's Mike with the, Mortgage Protection Center. It's Mike with the Barrel Insurance Program, or it's Mike with the insurance program, or whatever you want to tell them." But I just talk to him like Jermaine's my buddy. I have the same tone. So, and you're going to get objections, right? It depends on what types of leads you're dialing. But I can tell you this, the quickest way to do it is you have your tone. That's the quickest way to keep them on the phone. Because if they give you an objection and you get excited, which is human nature, and you speed up, like if and you don't mean to come confrontational, but they're like, Jermaine's like, I'm not interested. I didn't send that in. You're like, well, what do you mean you didn't send it? Human nature, you go up. Instead, the best answer, and I think Miranda was doing it the other day at the meeting or was talking about it, was just like, well, yeah, that's why I'm calling. Yeah, I know you didn't send it, and that's why I'm calling. Because it's really weird because they did send it in, by the way. So, but you don't say that. But you're like, all right, Jermaine, so you're not interested anymore. Okay, well, that's why I'm calling. I still need to get your file closed. So what time do you get off work on Tuesdays? They answer the question like, but if I just don't change, everything's just like the same, that'll help. So.
Awesome. Hey, Gio has a question. It's a little bit long, so I'm gonna let him ask this one because I couldn't make sense of reading it.
Hey, Mike. So having the athlete mentality, right, and knowing that not every athlete is gonna have fast success, and even to be still considered, a professional athlete, they still need to put in the right amount of work. If not, they're just gonna get cut out, right? How do you relay that same concept here to not only new agents, but agents that have been with us for a while, and not comparing themselves to others, but again, understanding that they still need to put in the proper amount of work. I mean, they're not gonna get cut out here, right? Because we're all independent. But how do you relate that message to them?
Yeah, great question. You have to continue to get better because there's someone. Like I was talking with my buddies, we were watching football this weekend, and now there's transfer portal in football. Well, all the sports, but now you could have, if you play quarterback, you can have some other quarterback transfer into your school. You could lose your job like that. It's made it to where these kids have to continue to work to get better. Like you said, Gio, you're not going to lose your job here, but you have to continue to get better each day, and through either making more money or reading or whatever, because as you grow in this business and you're recruiting and you want to build a business, people come into your life when you're mentally ready to help them. Does that make sense? Like if you kind of stay here at level 1 as, hey, you might just be a good sales guy, but you're not really trying to do anything better. You're not really trying to help people. Then the leaders aren't going to come into your life. Does that make sense? To help you build. The way I was able to build this thing, hey, there's my youngest kid. He's a year old.
He says that's truth. He's saying that's truth right there.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah,
like, amen, amen.
Yeah, he knows. I don't know what he's barking at. If I had to guess, it's probably the Amazon person, because my house is like an Amazon holding hub, I think. The three girls, it's like, holy gee, like, how do you order that much stuff? But anyways, but also Gio, everybody's process is different. Everybody's timing is different. I know, especially with leaders are impatient, and it's easy to get impatient and want more than what you're getting right now. But you have to understand there is a process in life. It's some kids I'm watching my girls, because my oldest is 15 and they're 13. The twins are 13. So some of them are matured faster than others, and they all play sports. So like some of the girls are bigger than my 13-year-old, and it's like, but that's okay. And it's the same in this business. Some people have matured faster than others. But you just have to stay your course and understand, if you continue to do the right things by people, you will get the harvest. I just don't know the timing of it. And it's easy to get frustrated as you've sat here, if you've been here a year or two, or you've been here for 6 months, and some person blows by you, 6 months in. I mean, who cares? It's your process. It ain't Jermaine's, it ain't Mike's, it ain't yours, Gio, it ain't Chris's. It doesn't matter. It's your life, it's your process. And but I do think you can speed it up if you continue to train your mind and do the right things. You will. It does speed it up faster. Because I think things people get put in your life when you're ready to handle them. And I just know, I speak from experience. There's guys that came in my life at certain times that I wasn't ready to do, and now I am. So it's just the work I put in.
Mike, you mind if I ask a follow-up question? I'm sorry, Jermaine. You mind if I?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, no,
really right on that topic. Did you deal with that personally, Mike, when you were personally producing and then building? Like, they say the thief of joy is comparison, but it's very hard because the company promotes a lot of things. So we see numbers. I see numbers all the time. And I totally understand the thinking that we all have our own process. But at the same time, I feel like that's part of what gives me edge, right? Because I want to compete, right? I want to be on that level. I'm like, and I know that I'm worthy, right? I know that, God loves me just as much as anyone else. So did you deal with that mental battle per se? And then what's some advice that you could give me to help me with that mentally, right? To kind of keep me at a certain level and not bring me down per se, and not get too high and not get too low. Did you deal with that? And then if you did, how did you get through that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, great question. I dealt with it, but I dealt with it in sports also. So it's kind of easier for me to deal with it when I got here, because I was always told I was too small and too slow. I even went down. I got drafted out of high school, and I'll just share this story because you'll understand. It's kind of what you're asking. The New York Yankees, they had 10 guys down, 2 weeks before the draft. It was going to be their top 10 picks. They do rounds, like round one. So I'm down there, and they work us out because they wanted to see us and touch us and see what they were going to get, because they're fixing to spend a lot of money on you, right? So I'm down there, and I'm with 9 other guys, and I'm better. I mean, I'm not saying it. I'm not bragging, but I was better than a lot of them that were down there. And one of the scouts pulled me aside and was like, listen, and at the time I was 165, 170 pounds. I know it's hard to believe, Chris, now, but I wasn't that big. But I could run and could throw, and he pulled me over and he goes, listen, if you were 185, you would probably be one of our first couple picks. He goes, we just feel like, he basically slotted me in their 10th poll or whatever, 10th round, and said, if you were bigger, you would probably go higher. And I couldn't. I mean, I ate, dude. I remember trying to gain weight in high school. I would eat those triple decker peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I also played football, and I was getting recruited to play football, but I was smaller. So I've always kind of been told I'm too small, too slow. And to the end of that story, the Yankees didn't even draft me. I got drafted by the Milwaukee Brewers in the 21st round. So the end of that story is they didn't draft me. So I've always had that chip on my shoulder about, too slow, too small. Same. I didn't graduate from Yale, so I always mentally I trick myself to saying, hey, I think some people might think I'm not smart enough or quick to do this, and I've always I'm always the guy that I just want you to watch because I will do it, no matter what you think, because I saw too many people in this business. To go back to this business, to go to these meetings. You guys go to these meetings and you see, like you just said, I'm no better than you, Chris. Like there's no, I mean, I know you. I know how hard you want to fight for your family. I'm not no better. We're the same. It's just it's a matter of time, right? So I always had that chip on my shoulder, to where I would just wanted you to, all right, just watch. I just thought, so I would trick myself going, Chris doesn't think I'm as good as he is. Just watch. So I would outwork. Like I used to dial, help me out recruiting. I would dial 10-cent resumes. They didn't even fill anything out. I would do that to learn how to talk to people, to learn what to say, what not to say, how to recruit them. I called thousands and thousands of people, and it got me better. Stuff you guys don't do or didn't know. Not you guys were doing, but the guys I was competing against I didn't think they were doing that. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't. I didn't care. So that's how I get by with it. I'm still that way today. I just think you have to, keep working, and your time is your time. You know what I mean? So it's a matter of, let me close my door. Sorry, guys. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but try to speak crazy. But anyways, that's the thing for is you have to trick yourself, I guess. Just know and just do right by people. That was my thing. I did there's I was talking to Jermaine, I'll send you that flyer you can send out to these guys. Because there's this recruiting process thing where I think it's like it's like $1,000 for like 200. It's 50 a week, I believe. They're unlicensed agents. But you know what? $1,000. I was telling Jermaine, if we could get new people, maybe a handful of you guys going together, if you don't have that money to spend. But you know what? To help you get better is just talking to them. If you talk to 200 people a month, you might only hire 10 of them, but you're gonna get better that next month. You might hire 20 because now you're used to talking to them. It's just like you guys, the selling process and the recruiting process is so parallel. Because Chris, you're so good at selling, what they're gonna say when you get in the home or when you get them on the phone, right? You can see him like, oh, this dude's gonna give me to think about it. So you know what to ask him so he doesn't do it. The recruiting process is the same way. But if you talk to enough people, you understand what they're going to say, and then you get to ask more pointed questions faster because your time is money. We got to get on and off the phone. But what I learned on those 10-cent resumes is how to do that. I've been on the phone for 30 minutes with a dude, and he'd be like, oh, no, I need a salary. And I'm like, dang, you're the sharpest dude I've talked to all day, and you want a salary? Like, come on, man. Well, what I learned, dude, that'd be the first question I ask. I'd be like, hey, so 1099.
Like 1 foot.
That was Mark. But anyway, so that's the I hope I answered your question, Chris. I think I did. But
No,
that's
you did. And if I'm sorry, Dre, if I could just follow up a little bit more.
That's what this
I asked for the reason I'm asking you this, Mike, is because actually I asked this to Brian Adams when I was in Texas, right, at the integrity office. And how I worded it to him is I said, hey, listen, there's a lot of people out in this industry. And really, I was thinking about Jermaine when I asked this question. I said, listen, we're consistent. We're consistently working, right? So how do you look at the people that, let's say, have that quick success, Brian, like that you guys do deals with, versus the people like me that have been in the industry a little bit longer? We're working the whole time and we're going to get there, right? We're going to get there. But do you look at us any differently? So my question to you, Mike, is for your managers, do you look at your managers any differently? And what do you do when you see them maybe taking a longer route to get to their particular goals, right? What's your thought process as a manager, and how do you help them get through that?
I don't, leadership is taken, it's not given. So it's not my role to anoint you as a manager. It's your role to take that from me and step up and go, hey, I want to be a manager. It doesn't matter. For me, timing doesn't matter. It's because everybody's time is different. You know what I'm saying? I'm 51 years old. Brian's a little younger than me. I think Brian's probably in his mid 40s. Brian been in insurance since he was in college. You know, he sold Met Advantage, I believe, in college. So he's been doing it for a long time, but everybody's timing is different, right? So I don't think you can compare one person to another person on their timing of their journey in their life. I do think there's certain people that I not say I like more because I want everybody to win, but it's like, you're right. Like I'm one of your biggest fans, whether you know it or not, just because of the conversations you and I've had in the past. Because I know what you want. So that, but I still can't anoint you VP. I can't anoint you. You have to do it. And I know you will do it. It's just a matter of time. So I would love to. What was his answer? Well, do you remember do you write down anything he said?
I did. It was very shocking to me, right? Because I had referred to Nina and Hayden in the question. He said, you know what? I love doing business with people that, grow quickly within 6 months, boom, right? They're at $1 million. He said, that's all great. But he says the stability of integrity is really built off of those companies that are 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, right? He's like, I love doing business with those people because they show us consistency, right? And he says, you can't put a price tag on consistency. So I love that answer, you know what I mean? Because basically his point was, just run your race, and I was like, okay,
Right.
great, And he says, he doesn't have more or less respect for anyone that takes longer to get to a goal. It's not how he does business, So I thought that was very enlightening, because it was one of my major concerns, right? Because I don't know what people are thinking, so I just want to go ahead and ask. So I thought that was very insightful coming from him.
Well, that's good. So my answer was similar. That's why I was hoping.
Exactly. I appreciate you, Mike.
I enjoy Brian. I enjoy the time I get to spend with him, and he's a superhuman being. Yeah. So if you guys don't know what we're talking about, he's the president of integrity. Some people might not know what we're talking about, Chris, but he's a phenomenal person. Yeah. And we do think very similar on certain things. So that's why I want to see what he said. So that's good. I'm on the right track then. Thank you.
I appreciate you, Mike. Thank you so much.
All right, bud.
Yeah, Mike. So I don't know if anybody else have any last questions. Bostic, we see your question. Mark is going to follow up with you, because that one's a little bit more detailed, more hands-on for you being a new agent. So we'll get that question answered. But Mike, appreciate the time. I think, a lot of the things we talked about today was, importance of communication, obviously having a good schedule, and then that consistency. And it ties into what you and Chris were just talking about, where, everybody's race is different. Like, some people get in and, they're making sales their first week, Christian just came on board first week making sale, him and his dad, Jamie. And then you got Cameron, took him 2 weeks before he made his first sale. So I think, I guess if I could have you finish on that note, it's like the importance of running your race, and then really looking at this as long-term, not something that's just like, hey, I'm gonna get rich quick, but something where I can build a stable career and design the life that I want for a long period of time. Can you just touch on that and we'll wrap it up?
Yeah. Yep. I call it get rich pretty quick. Is what I call it. Because you can't, even though you might not make a sale for your first week or so, let's say, but when you make 3 sales, you make $3 or $4 grand. I mean, it's like, for a lot. I mean, I remember 12 years ago when I saw this business, I saw it as a way. I was coming from an industry where I was making $300, $400, $500 grand a year, and I had to replace that income. And Jermaine, when I saw this business, I saw this business as a way to do that. And so what I mean by it's not a get rich quick. This isn't, you're not going to sit around and we're going to start depositing money in your bank. You have to go to work. But you can change the way you live really fast if you do the right things in this business. And I hope everyone does. I hope this helped. But if you're new, man, you got to treat this thing like a job. You got to go to work hard. I mean, and the harder you work, the more money you're going to make here. That's the cool thing. It's like at your job, you couldn't work more or harder and you just got paid the same. But here, you go to work harder, recruiting more agents, selling more policies, you're going to make more money than you ever had in your life. I've been blessed to make more money than I've ever, and I've done well, but I've never thought in a million years I'll be able to do what I've done here. And everyone on this call can do that. But it does take work. It's that's the 4-letter word that kind of gets in the way sometimes. And but everybody's capable of doing it. So let's just go do it. And I hope everybody has a good week. And Jermaine, thanks for having me on. And I appreciate all you guys.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate you being on.